Okay, people, I have a lot to talk about. I'm going to try not to ramble on, but I know I'm going to. There's a lot I want to cover here. Since I don't have the experience to go on platforms, I'm not a YouTuber. I have one video. This is my second video. I don't know if I want to do this, but I am a YouTube watcher, and I'm subscribed to almost like 400 channels. Obviously, recently, I've caught on to a lot of the amico, the YouTubers that cover amico, and I've learned to see that there's two sides. I actually think there's three sides. There's the hate, the worshippers, and then the middle people like me who just want the thing. If it comes out and it's successful, I'll be all over it, because what I'm trying to get at is the reason why the amico of all systems would be related to me, not because of what all the other YouTubers say about it's for family and it's for kids, and no, that's not why. I grew up, I'm 52. I grew up with electronics, like say in the early 80s. So this is pretty much who you have covering the amico is, men in their 40s to 50s. And I know it's aimed for nonviolence, which I'm good with, because what I want to explain real quick is I started in the early 80s with Odyssey 2, when video games the graphics weren't what you saw in the box. We all talk, we've heard this. So the amount of violence in games couldn't really influence society to go out there and do a school shooting or run over people, or things that have actually happened on the news and in our society. So with that said, I love video game history from the start, from the late 70s or mid 70s with Pongs and all that, and when it became Atari, Intellivision, ColecoVision, Vectrix, Odyssey, like I said, those were video games. Like, we played those games for score, to try and beat a high score. They weren't really level related until we get to like Sega Master System and Nintendo. It became more of trying to get levels finished. There were still scores, but we're pretty much weren't playing for scores anymore. We're playing for like trying to beat the game. Again, did the games become more violent both in the arcades and the home systems? Yes, they did become more violent, but not to the point where they would influence a kid in society to shoot up anything. They were still games. They were still video games. I mean, okay, you get to Nintendo, yeah, we had games that involved shooting, but they weren't realistic enough to be to influence. Which gets me to the point of why, in particular, I stopped. And I love video game history, like I said, but for me it kind of stops at PS3, only because I inherited my son's PS3 and my Xbox 360 and Wii. I haven't owned a PS4. I don't plan to own a PS5. I don't own a Xbox One or Xbox Series X, the new one I don't plan to get. Nintendo, we all know Nintendo's pretty much been the last to bite the bullet as far as going to violence. I would say up to the Nintendo 64 was pretty much still mild and unrealistic looking to influence anyone to do anything bad. But once GameCube and the Switch, yeah, even Nintendo now is not your, perfect Disney non-violence. They've joined the violence. So what gets me to what I'm saying is why I'm bringing this up is because what I was saying about the amico, how it's supposed to gear towards non-violence. But let me tell you something. I have a lot to say. For a little while here, I've been in the middle. Following channels. I mean, I wouldn't okay, we got these so-called haters and stuff of the amico. And what the amico, they call it the amico clan, and Tommy, they kiss Tommy's ass, and I mean, the direct amico fans that have YouTube channels have brung it on to theirself. Let's face it. I've watched. I'm a witness from the outside. I've seen it all. Yes, these YouTubers will sit there and cry, why do you got to hate on our system? It's not the system, I think, that they hate on. I think it's you people. Because you guys, I'm on the outside. I'm in the middle. So I'm not on either side. And I've witnessed both sides. I don't subscribe to those channels, so-called haters, but I do keep a tab on them. So I will watch their videos to see who they are trashing and, and why and so forth. I've seen DJ C grow from his start, and I was in touch with him on Messenger. I even reached out to him if I could be on his channel. And, if I could be on one of the live things, and he said he didn't want negativity or drama on his channel or something like that, but yet that's all they taught. That's all they do. And just recently, in these last couple of days, they've actually gotten even worse. Mentioning the haters and why they hate on it so much, and okay. And there's a lot of things that are not brought up and covered. And me being from the outside looking in, I have all the answers. I might not be 100% correct, and I might not even say it right. I might not even say it correctly. But there's things that I oppose for both sides, and for the amico itself and Tommy. I mean, I right now where I'm from is Western Massachusetts. I'm literally a half hour away from where Tommy grew up. I don't personally know Tommy, but I personally know people that personally knew Tommy in this area. And I heard the whole story, how he was into music. And a good friend of mine, which was a coworker of mine, actually knew Tommy from a music store that they used to work at together. And this was when Tommy was probably in his early 20s, maybe even 20. And he told me a story that Tommy would say at work, one of these days I'm taking off and I'm going to go to California because nothing's going to happen here and this and that. I don't know how true, how accurate this is. I'm just, saying what he told me. And he told me that Tommy would always say, I'm going to pick up and go to California. That's where it's at. That's where our opportunity is. And by the way, Steven Tyler of Aerosmith is his cousin. is Tommy's cousin. So I'm sure he was influenced by music, through that, and there is some musicians, local musicians around here that his age that he probably knows. But my coworker friend told me that Tommy would say this, and from what I heard, he did do this. He went to California with almost nothing in his pocket, became a beach bum or whatever, and found places to sleep and eat and survive. But then he got a job at a music place and something like that. Like I said, I'm not accurate on this, but he had a TurboGrafx shirt on, and he was approached by a gentleman that came into the music store, and he asked him about the shirt. Are you're into video games? And next thing you know, this guy had something to do with a studio, video game studios for music, and then Tommy got involved, and he gave him a job, and then from there, I don't know, Tommy became Tommy and does his video game live thing and has done music for video games and such, and that's how I guess it started. But like I said, none of that's accurate, but it's something like that. Anyway, getting back to this whole amico thing, I have things to say. This is my platform. This is the only place I have a say in my opinions. Since I don't have experience enough to join any of these live things, and I don't have the equipment and to edit stuff, and so this is a very, very small channel. I probably have 12 subscribers. I'm gonna try to get this particular video. I'm gonna probably try to say that this is like an Intellivision amico unboxing, but it ain't. I am gonna do an unboxing, but I'm gonna tell you now, it's not an amico, obviously, but I'm gonna maybe head that just so I can get people to discover this video, because I do want to say a few things that I think people should know from both sides. Things that haven't even been talked about. I mean, I've been watching these channels, and it's been like a record repeating itself over and over, because really, I mean, I appreciate the fact that they talk about this, and it gives me something to watch, because I don't have cable and I don't watch sports anymore. So really all I watch is YouTube channels, and not to say I like drama, but I mean, yeah, there's drama on YouTube. So I mean, not that obviously I'm not joining it. I'm just making this video because I want to talk about a few things that they failed to talk about. Both sides have failed to talk about these things, and I feel like they need to be said. Okay, for one, going back to the early 80s, like I said, I'm a Odyssey guy, so I was the poor man on the block with an Odyssey 2. Everyone else had Atari or Intellivision. So I'm an Intellivision fan today, and I own several Intellivisions, number 2, like three original ones. I have one hooked up, a couple boxed. And, I got a decent collection, some homebrews, and a lot of the, general games and a few rare ones. So back at the time, the only time I ever experienced Intellivision was from my older cousin had one. And I was actually intimidated by it, to be honest with you. So what I'm trying to say is the original Intellivision, and I know a lot of you will agree with this, the original Intellivision was geared towards adults, let's face it. I know DJC talks about his growing up and playing Intellivision with his father, and yeah, I mean, but we all have to agree on this that, I mean, I experienced it this way. I really didn't have any interest in the Intellivision when I was in the early 80s because of its difficulty to play, because the controller was intimidating. I had an Odyssey 2. Other cousins of mine had, Atari 2600, the joystick with the button. I mean, that's pick up and play, right? The Odyssey, same thing, button, and, you pick up and play. The games were sympletic. I mean, now that I'm an adult at this age, I appreciate the Intellivision, like I said, and I can play it. And the only thing I find weird about the Intellivision to this day is the lack of homebrew controller. Like a controller cannot be made for this thing. You have to use the circle and the side buttons and the keypad to enter things, which is fine because it makes it different. So the disc, I'm fine with it. But I'm talking about back in the early 80s when I'm just a kid, 12 years old. Like I said, one cousin of mine had the Intellivision. They used to play the football on it, and I would pick it up when they weren't around. Me and my other like the little brother, my other cousin, we'd pick it up and try to play, but we didn't have fun with it. It just wasn't fun. But I mean, we watched our older cousins play it, and they seemed to know what they were doing, and it seemed cool. But then as soon as we played it, nothing happened. Like, it was weird. Like, we didn't even know how to get it started. And then once we got it started, it was slow, and you had to enter buttons, and I don't know if maybe they didn't have the overlays, or it just was adult. It was for adults. Let's face it. The original Intellivision was geared towards adults. It was not for kids because it was too complicated to play. Which is weird because nobody has really touched up on this fact that the original Intellivision was geared towards adults more than children. Let's face it. Now, the Amico is opposite. It's trying to gear towards kids and simplicity to the point where in the physical boxes, they stated they don't even need instructions because the games are going to be pick up and play, which is opposite of the original. The original was in no way pick up and play. It had to be programmed somehow with the buttons, how to start, pick players. Then once you started, hiking the ball. You had the two buttons on the side. I don't know if one of the other buttons passed, or it was very not sympletic to play. So that I find that kind of interesting, where this company, which was, obviously it's not the original people, but it's still the company name Intellivision. It's kind of touching to me that it's going from being an intimidating, not so much at all pick up and play, intimidating as a kid, and geared for adults. And now today, if it comes out and it's successful, it's going to be geared towards the opposite. It's going to be supposedly geared towards kids and easy to play and family and this and that, that's okay. I'm just saying, no one's really touched on this. No one's ever said that the original, it's been said, but no one's really made it a point of how intimidating it was as a kid to play the Intellivision, and how supposedly easy it's going to be to play the Amico. So I think that's very interesting that a company could switch it all around like that, and that's cool. Now, with that said, I just said something about physical media. Here's another thing the Amico fans and cult, as they say, doesn't touch up on ever. This has been said by the people that cover Amico on YouTube. It has been said by them that they are too touchy, too sensitive. I think Retro Bro brought that up. And being from the outside looking in, I have to agree that the Amico people that cover it are touchy people and are sensitive people, because and this is what I mean. They're so sensitive that they actually take what the haters say and the non-fans say, the negatives, and they actually let it influence them to this point. I witnessed with my own eyes when the Amico was delayed again. People like DJC went out and ordered a Switch. I mean, it's your money. You buy what you want, and if you like it, that's fine. But it seems like he got influenced to buy it. It doesn't seem like all the videos since. It doesn't seem like he likes to cover it much. He just got it to please the haters, because they said that all he covers is Amico and it's not going to be out for months. And now just recently, I have to touch up on OEBP, and I'm not bashing any of these guys. I'm simply saying how influenced they are by the haters. OEBP, Open Every Box P, just changed his channel name to a different name. So that tells me his intro music is not going to be the same. Why? You know why? Because he constantly gets bashed by one hater in particular, Darius from Canada, I believe. I'm not subscribed to him, but I keep tabs on him. This guy's a mess. This guy ranks on everybody, not even just Amico people. He ranks on big YouTubers not even big YouTubers, but this guy has totally picked on people like what's his name? OEBP for one. He's been bashing lately. Metal Jesus. This guy's harassed everyone, right? John Riggs recently. Pat and Ian, whatever. Sometimes he agrees with them, but he doesn't always. He calls Pat a scammer too. So this guy's total mess. This guy has not much knowledge of video games. But with that said, this guy does have subscribers, and he does have a clan that goes out and harasses everyone else, like I hear. I don't know the people. Maybe they'll come to my channel and harass me. I hope so. Maybe it'll give me more subscribers and more views. That's what it's done for a lot of you YouTubers that cover Amico. Especially when the big guy did it with the takes off his shirt. I was subscribed to him, and I unsubscribed to him since then when he, bashed everybody, like DJC, and bashed a bunch of you guys from Amico, Smash JT and this and that. But, I have to admit, I'm Italian, and Retro Bro, I believe, is Italian, and Smash JT's Italian, and Tommy's Italian, so it has nothing to do with it. I'm just bringing this up because being Italian, I like you fellow Italians, but even I have to say, you guys bring it upon yourself to be hated by these people. Because, come on, Smash JT, I don't know, I didn't always cover him, watch his stuff, but, he would come in, he'd be in the news a lot. The reason how I found out about JT is through bashing videos, like someone bashing on him. So I look it up, Smash JT. I watch his video, smashing back. So that's how I got, But yet, Smash JT likes the same stuff that I like, the earlier stuff. But come on, this guy walks around his property, sweating, and of course you're gonna get tortured for that. Do as you want. It's your channel, and he's got a lot of subscribers. But this guy, I don't know if he was. Maybe I gotta watch some of his earlier stuff. But his later stuff, he doesn't cover anything for video games. He just kind of just walks around through his property, and I don't know what he does. But no, I have nothing against him. I'm just saying how sometimes we do bring this stuff upon ourselves in the way that we perform. I mean, this guy's bashed Brett Weiss. This guy, he's bashed a lot of people. And he gets away with it. So that's not what I'm trying to get at. What I'm trying to get at is how these haters influence you. To, like I was just saying about OEBP. I mean, I'm not saying that this is why he changed his channel name and possibly his intro. But yeah, that guy Darius makes fun of him like, oh, open every box, OBBP, right? And I'm sure he's seen that. He hasn't reacted. OEBP has some of these people. You guys don't react to these people, which is fine. You probably shouldn't react to them. Make them think you've never seen it. But then when you change your channel name and you're going to change your intro and everything, it kind of makes it look to people like me, the watchers that keep a tab on all this, makes it look to me like you're weak and you're changing it because somebody else influenced you to do it. Like, I don't know. I mean, these are the weird things I've noticed. And not only that, but this JT, Smash JT, like tonight, I was watching the DJC. I didn't chime in today like I usually do because of all this stuff that's been going on. I reached out to DJC for a few things. I reached out for him to be on the channel to talk about this, but I obviously have no experience. So, in other words, he made up an excuse. He didn't want to give me the platform. He didn't want drama, even though I guess recently he has lashed out about some haters. I don't know, Hammock Man. I don't even know who they're talking about. Hammock something and Pretzel, or I don't know what the hell they're talking about. There's Hammocks, Pretzels, Darius. I don't know, Canadian Gamer. I don't know who they. Maybe they're from the people that follow Darius. I don't know a lot about it, but just from watching. But another thing that hasn't been touched on is I wanted to say while I was on the subject of the amico being towards families and kids, I think the one big, huge aspect that the amico has that no one's mentioned, no one's really touched on this. The selling point of the amico. Right now we see the commercials, so-called commercials, like the videos. We see them only on YouTube, right? Obviously, the thing isn't released yet. So what I'm saying is once this becomes commercialized, like when it comes out and you actually see the commercials for the amico, the one thing that's going to stand out, that's going to lean towards kids, none of you have mentioned this, is the cute little amico intro, and then the C and the O become eyes, and it goes amico. That's gonna catch kids. That little thing, that little thing, is gonna. I think that's actually the biggest draw right now that I can see when this thing finally hits shelves and commercials are on TV. That's the one thing that right now no one's touched on. We see it in these videos, but that's the one cute aspect that's gonna, it's gonna make it almost. Now I don't want to say compete, but almost give it like a Nintendo touch, like a Nintendo thing. When that little amico, the C and the O at the end, they bounce around and they become eyes or something, or a smiley, right? And it goes, amico. That is actually the very coolest thing that amico has going for itself. That's not saying a lot, but that's what you haven't touched up on. Now, another thing you haven't touched up on. Here's another thing that non-fans will tell you about the physical media thing. You guys have been tortured on, Tommy and the company have been tortured on what to call it. Is it physical media? It's not physical media. Very strange because a lot of you, I think Nick and Mike, no, maybe not Mike. Mike doesn't like the Switch. But the DJC and Nick in particular, and OEB Pete in particular, Papa Pete doesn't, I don't think, likes this, doesn't have the Switch either. But you guys harp on it so much, the Switch. Like tonight, you guys mentioned the Switch has problems too. It's not perfect either. Like when somebody touched up on, I think Smash JT said something about the controller, the dial, you have to push it in to make it do something. And you said, and Nick said, oh, the Switch ain't perfect either. But listen, the Switch has Nintendo as, Nintendo sells. I mean, Nintendo can be 100% not perfect, and it'll sell anyway. I mean, it's Nintendo, so I don't like when things are compared like that. I mean, this is a small company trying to get it out, and it's got its own thing. The controller looks very interesting to me. The games, I don't care what people say about them being cell phone games, this and that. It's not the same. These are going to be on the television, played with the controller. So don't let people steer you wrong. It's going to be its own thing, which is good. I agree with that. So don't compare it to, oh, well, Xbox. And I've heard this too about the chips and this and that. Obviously, PlayStation 5, my son took months to get that thing. I was trying to talk him out of it. Tell him, don't bother with that garbage. It's garbage. The games are garbage. The way you have to get it is garbage. People tripling the price, doubling the price it's just terrible. Okay, so obviously there's a problem with everything delayed. You can't even get one. You can't even get an Xbox. So yes, there's no problem that the Amico got delayed. This is not what I'm saying. Does all this look good for the company? No, being delayed 2-3 times, putting out games that, physical games that are not even out yet. My biggest problem was the bundling. And I'm not saying it was a problem to begin with. I mean, yeah, go ahead and try to, get the ball rolling and bring some money.